Hey everyone, welcome to this webinar hosted by QualiWare and President Summit due to QualiWare's amazing participant and sponsorship in our conference, President Summit. Today you will hear the president in Intersection Group, Milan, talk about taking back the lead on digital. So Milan, while the last people are joining here, you can just start by taking off this webinar.
All right, thank you, Silas. Hi everyone and welcome. Yeah, so I had the pleasure to attend with QualiWare the President Summit 2 times. It's an amazing event. So really happy to be here and pick up the thread from some conversations we had over there. So today's session is called Taking Back the Lead on Digital, and maybe more concretely, from mass to clarity in enterprise IT. Just a little bit about me. So I'm Milan. I'm based in Paris. I'm originally from Germany, and I run a consultancy called EDGY since 2009. We just launched a social software startup, and I'm also president of Intersection Group, which is a not-for-profit association. And we are most notably known for publishing EDGY, which is an open source language for collaborative enterprise design. And we will get into this in a bit more detail. So at Intersection Group, we like to believe that we help people create better enterprises. And we have this little asterisk here at the better, because better is not necessarily self-explanatory. Like, what is a good enterprise? What's a bad enterprise? Some people have opinions on what a bad enterprise could look like. So here is a Bloomberg Business Week from some time ago, from 2018. And they illustrated here United Quests to be less awful. So it's not even to be a great enterprise, but just to be less awful than they are today. And you have here some symptoms of bad enterprise design. Unhappy employees, in that case, delayed flights, or basically your product doesn't work. Tech meltdowns, here we are in IT, and also behavior, like gifts for public officials. So whenever enterprises are badly designed, you kind of see it in the media, you see it as a customer, you also see it as an employee. And so a lot of enterprises are engaged in getting better. So what do we mean by better? And this is where we get into EDGY. We think enterprises are ambitious endeavors, and the good ones, the well-designed ones, they excel across these 3 facets that you have here in this Venn diagram. They serve a clear purpose, they have a clear identity, they are useful for people in their lives and their experiences, and they actually work, they actually deliver. And so today, I want to take you through EDGY as a way to look at enterprises and to, from a CIO, IT, digital position, use enterprise design as an approach to actually make enterprises better, elevate your impact, and have better conversations with all the people that you're working with. But before we go any further, I have a question for everyone here so far. So we prepared a little survey, and I just want to know, why are you here today? Are you here because you have IT challenges, like you have to keep track of many applications and capabilities? You need to understand your business, your products. You want to improve the user, employee, or customer experience. You work with others in the organization and you depend on collaboration with them. You help making your enterprise fit for purpose, or even you contribute to deliver on its brand promises. If you said yes to any of these, you are in the right place, because here we sneakily introduced you to some EDGY. So in EDGY, we use a common shared language to make sense of enterprises and their complexities. So we talk about their capabilities, their products, the experiences that they create for people, the organization, the purpose, the brand, and all of these things. are enterprise elements. But more importantly, when we talk to people in digital and IT, these are the kind of things we hear again and again in Intersection Group, in our user base, but also in my consultancy business. There's this kind of clash between digital and enterprise IT. And it's visible in, for example, an IT lead saying, well, digital, maybe there's a digital department and they are trying to lead innovation. They're claiming they're leading innovation. But in the end, IT has to fix their mess. Everyone really wants digital transformation, but then until the analyst asks what actually the plan is, then not so much anymore. We have debt growing, more and more apps, more and more complexity in between the apps. When business wants to add even more, all the while the business engages consultants to make a lot of slides about AI, but IT is actually preventing the change that the designers are trying to make. And then CIO voice, there's actually a lot of spend on all of this, but it's still really unclear what IT actually does to the rest of the business. So if any of these challenges sound familiar, if you have a more specific challenge that you would like to share, just write it in the chat. And we will look into that a little bit later and see how enterprise design with EDGY could help you. But if you have any of these challenges, you are likely to work with maps, because all of this is kind of a mess. We have the enterprise, we have all of these different elements, we have these kind of wicked challenges, and we need to make sense of this mess. So we make maps, and maybe you know some of these maps. So often in product teams, we have a roadmap, what we're doing now, what we'll do later with different work streams. We might have a technical architecture. We might have journey maps of what our customers or our users do or might want to do. We might have maps about our teams, our organization, in this case, like the so-called Spotify model. We model our business, we model our processes, and so on. And EDGY is basically saying that all of these are views on the enterprise, right? So all of these are correct. All of these are describing the same enterprise, just from different perspectives. But what happens then, because of this complexity, is that, well, we have not one roadmap. We have actually a lot of projects. So we have a big pile of projects with kind of unclear titles and names. We know maybe whether they are on budget or on track, but we don't really know what they are doing and how they are related and how we fit in there. Well, we have a vision on our architecture, but our actual architecture looks more like this. Years and years, sometimes decades of adding things. And this is, by the way, something that we call a scare model. So architects pull out this model just to prevent someone from being too ambitious when trying to propose changes. Well, journey maps are great, but actually everyone made journey maps. There's not one. There are like, in this case, at least 9 different journey maps from different departments, maybe marketing made one, CX made one, UX made one, product made one, employee experience made one, and so on and so on. So, and they all look different, and they are all kind of free form. We introduce, in order to organize, because of all of this complexity, maybe something like SAFE. So instead of having simple teamwork, suddenly we have a lot of complicated structures with trains and things going back and forth, and a lot of elements that we need to consider. And the business model workshop was nice, but actually what the business is interested in is, how are we doing? How is sales? How is it going in the different regions? What's our revenue? What's our prospective chances for success? Where are our opportunities? And this process model, yeah, also quite neat, looks very nice, but actually teams are struggling to see where the data is coming from, where is it going, what is actually happening. So all of these models basically explode in our face. Everyone is trying to dig deeper. There's a lot of mess. So how can we make sense of this mess? How can we work together to actually find out what we can do together and come to some kind of meaningful change, meaningful vision of the enterprise and where it might want to go? So this is where EDGY comes in, and we think this art project here is a good illustration of what's going on, right? So we try to pretend that the enterprise is this nimble car that's quite agile, right? But it's actually a dinosaur So it's hard to change. It's hard to deal with all the legacy. We don't really know what's going on the inside, and we need to deal with that. And the situation that we see again and again looks a bit like this. So we built our enterprise. Yeah, we built our car, which in this case stands for the enterprise, our Dino car. And we have people in IT, the architects, the analysts, and so on. And they are basically perceived by everyone as the guy under the hood here, right? So it's this IT architects with a lot of barriers, a lot of complexity in the models. Everything looks very technical, and it kind of tells the rest of the business, you know, keep out, here is a construction area. This is technical. It's not for you. And if you look at languages that are prevalent in this domain, it's quite visible. Right? If you look at UML, Archimate, BPMN, and so on, very formal, very highly syntaxed, not so easy to understand, which is why they don't even try. So strategy discussions are happening elsewhere, right? It's this private party that is somewhere else. And they then come at some point and tell us, yeah, this is the brief, this is the requirements, this is what we decided. All the while, digital basically also dealing with, you could say, the computer side of the business, just like the IT architects, but coming more from this innovation, UX, product kind of view. They are also trying to change the enterprise, but what they in the end are doing is basically just make pretty stickers and put them on top, right? There's this experiment, this prototype, this workshop, this innovation department, but in the end, it doesn't really. They don't have the mandate or the means or the understanding necessary to have significant change happening on the enterprise itself. And I want to illustrate that and starting to use EDGY just to show you how it's working. So let's say you have a challenge. Your bosses want you to find opportunities for AI in customer interactions. I have been asked this a few times, and I'm sure some people here have too. So let's first go with the digital approach, right? The innovation approach. Okay, so we have an asset, which is a chatbot, a large language model, which is called Pierre. Any like resemblance to other chatbots is purely incidental. And we just deploy it as a product on top of everything we have. We are, by the way, in Intersection Group, we use a fake railway company as our example. So we are talking about a railway business here. But you wouldn't see that even. And this is also, by the way, one of the signs that we don't really understand each other, that we look at a lot of models where you don't really see what is the business, what is going on, what is the product, what are they actually doing. So great. We deploy Pierre, we launch it, and here is me yesterday kind of trying to do that on the Eurostar website. Eurostar is the train that goes from Paris to London and Belgium and Germany. So I asked, okay, if I have a trip coming up, like I want to go somewhere interesting in France, where could I go? And said I could go to Avignon. Okay. And then I'm like, okay, how do I go to Avignon? And it goes blah, 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 blah. A lot of stuff that is on their website. And I asked, what's the best connection tomorrow? And, you know, it doesn't know. It can't help me. It says, to find the best connection, I first have to go to Paris. And there I take something else. But it, you know, and then if you actually want the schedule, it just refers me to other parts of the website. I can't really talk to it. And it's because, yeah, the implementation is basically, we take this asset in EDGY, which is a piece of software, a bot, we let it spider the website, and then we deploy it, and it can't really do anything. Now, if we combine this digital innovation view with a more classic IT view, what's actually going on in the enterprise, and what can we do together? This is where EDGY really comes in and plays out its strength. So let's look at this if we used EDGY. So what's the task? Okay, my task is actually, as a customer, I want to do this spontaneous weekend trip. And for that, I use this product called Trip Planner that is made available by Intersection Railways. And I'm using a certain channel, which is my smartphone. And this product depends on a capability, which is recommending trips. And this capability can be implemented on the website. It could be in a call center. It could be in a chatbot. It could be also in all sorts of situations. And who owns this capability? Who has it? It's an organizational unit called destination marketing. But it's not only these people that are making it work, it's all sorts of assets. We have a train scheduling application, we have a CRM application, we are using an SAP system, we have a route planning process, and all of this is necessary to enable our capability. And why are we doing all of this? Well, we want to promote destinations so that people book our trains, and all of this is part of a story that we are telling in our marketing, making local discoveries. And so if we now add Pierre in this situation, EDGY made it clear, we had a conversation with the marketing people, with the IT people, with the product people, with the customer experience people, with the org designers, and we all understand each other, and we're like, okay, we have this asset, we deploy it in the context of this capability. What's the impact? And maybe this will give us already ideas. Maybe it's not just some chatbot that we just add to the website without any context, but we maybe intercept the user as they are looking where they might want to go. We train the chatbot to actually know what it's talking about and to connect to these systems to be able to say, you know what, yeah, there's a train tomorrow at this time from this track, this station. Do you want to book it? Yeah, and so this is what you do with EDGY. EDGY looks like this. So we take these facets that I was showing before based on the criteria of what actually makes a good enterprise, and we now have the poll results in, which is great. So a lot of people here care about capabilities and applications, which in EDGY is an asset. And in order to, if we have capabilities, then we can make products. These products then serve people's tasks, and they appear in people's journeys. By the way, we use the word task rather than job to be done, but it's pretty much the same thing, because we also have a lot of people from an organization design background in Intersection Group, and they would be very confused if we use the term job for this. And if we do this well, then we will have a positive brand image, which is basically the reflection of our purpose, our story, our identity in the experience of people. And what are we doing? We are actually trying to make this purpose happen by organizing ourselves and get a working architecture in place. So this is how we use EDGY. You dissect the enterprise, you apply these different perspectives, you have conversations with people that are kind of represented in these elements, and you see them here. You see all these people running around doing things, making models of the enterprise. And this is also where Qualiware comes in, because Qualiware is one of our partners that actually implemented EDGY in their tool. So if you look at Qualiware, this is what it looks like. And teams can just put in their models. So here we are on an experience desktop, and we see maybe customer experience, maybe product, maybe user experience, maybe innovation. They have put in some maps here. So there's a service blueprint with some journey on top, some tasks, and some capabilities, and enable these. Some products. We have a task map. We have a channel map. See where we appear in people's lives. We also have our product hierarchy, our brands. So everyone adds their maps and models. But we don't only track the elements, we also track how they are related. So we see here in the blueprint, for example, that this capability here is related to this task, which is related to this journey step and to this product. So we see basically, and we can track which elements are related and how. So if we imagine now this team again from this situation here, and they want to find out, okay, what are the elements here? Maybe they are in a UX team, maybe they invite someone of their IT colleagues and they want to have this conversation. What we can do now is have a look, click on some of these elements and see what are they connected to. And so here you see one of the ways to explore the graph. The G in EDGY stands for graph. In Qualiware, so we have here my task, which is a city break. We have a high-speed train that is serving this task, which is depending on a capability called passenger information. And then if we click here and explore this one, we see that passenger information is actually depending on this asset called train schedule system. And so we browse the enterprise together. We browse it this is like a navigation system. We discover things that we are maybe not aware of, but they are important elements to consider for our work for our work to change or redesign parts of the enterprise, to introduce new products or make changes happen. And so if we now continue this exploration, we might see that there's actually a model, an asset map that explains how this system is embedded in the rest of the IT landscape. And we can link to more high-level expert notations that are maybe not for the design or product team, but more for the techies that can be behind here in other languages that are complementary to EDGY, like maybe Archimate, maybe the designers have their own jobs to be done language or journey language that they want to use. And we can look also here, we can ask some question like, are these systems okay? Can we actually integrate them with our chatbot? And here we find that, well, the schedule system we now filtered for asset expiry. When do we have to replace the system? Would it actually make sense to connect it now to our PR chatbot and to have it query when is the next train going? In this case, it's green, so it's fine. But there's another system here that is actually orange, which means we will have to replace it now. There's a kind of an urgency here. So maybe the whole construction side issue wasn't even on our agenda. If it was, did we know that we shouldn't invest in connecting to the system, or at least we need to somehow decouple this and make it part of our API to the train schedule system, because otherwise the chatbot will explode probably and not work anymore as soon as we replace the system. And just having these conversations, this is what EDGY is for. And a tool like QualiWare where we actually can have these elements and relations tracked in a repository helps a lot with that. Yeah, so this is basically what I wanted to show. Intersection Group is making EDGY as a language for enterprise design. We have a growing community. We are running this year our 11th conference in Brussels. I'll show it in a minute. We have communities growing, especially in Canada, in France, in England, in Finland, in Brazil, and we also run courses and publish publications. So if you are interested in this, if you have even something similar, an enterprise design case, we would love to hear from you. We just started our call for contributions for our Intersection 25 conference in Brussels with the very on topic of untangling the mess together. We are also running a 6-week course on intersection. The next one starting in April in the European afternoon. And there are 2 more webinars coming up. Also one with QualiWare, with Russell from QualiWare, about killing the blank page with EDGY and AI, where we use generative AI to make EDGY models really quickly. And one deep dive on capability maps with Wolfgang Clement-Rich. And yeah, we would like to invite you to join us. You can get the deck here. You can. We will also send out the deck. We will send out EDGY in different forms after the webinar to everyone who attended. And yeah, if you have any questions, I would be happy to have a little conversation. And maybe just while you think of questions, we see that a lot of people here, 37%, have to keep track of many applications and capabilities. But a lot actually also improve the user, employee, or customer experience and work together with a lot of others and depend on a lot of others in their organization. So they have the architecture, the experience, and the organization coming in. We also have some people who need to understand the business and product, and also who contribute to delivering on the brand promise. And yeah, even more, who make the enterprise fit for purpose. So
we have a question here.
Yes.
Is it possible in QualiWare to have EDGY as well as some other notation in parallel, but still use the defined common like products, capability, processes, etc.?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. So EDGY is just one of the. So EDGY, by the way, is open source and Creative Commons, and so it's free. You can use it in QualiWare. You can use it in some other architecture tools. You can also use it in PowerPoint, in Miro, in Mural, yeah, there are lots of implementations that are coming up that we know. We depend on the community to make these implementations happen, but they are happening. So what we often see is there's also a mapping between EDGY and Archimate. So you can deploy EDGY even as an Archimate extension with any Archimate compatible tool. But what we often see is that specialists are making their maps up to a certain degree in EDGY, right? So the product people do a product portfolio, and the service designers make a service blueprint, and the marketing people make a brand hierarchy. But then as we go into more details, like for example, if we look more into the architecture, maybe this is the level that you use EDGY for, and then as you dive deeper into how is the system really running, what's the infrastructure it's running on, how is it deployed in the cloud, you know, this is where then you switch from EDGY to another language that is better suited to this exact challenge and question. And the idea is to use it as a bridge to the other practices that you want to exchange with, but then to keep the details of whatever, more detailed and more discipline-specific question in a notation that is suitable. So the idea of it is to be combined with other languages. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you for voting. And yeah, if you have any challenge to share, please reach out. We are, you can find us on the Intersection Group website to get in touch, on LinkedIn, or reach out to President Summit or QualiWare.